Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. Today I wanted to share with you what I'm hoping our first day of homeschool is going to be like, because next week we are back from break. Well, I'm down to 7 kids being homeschooled now since my, not oldest daughter, but my oldest daughter who was being homeschooled, my 18-year-old, she just graduated. So yeah, now I'm down to 7 kids. The most kids I ever homeschooled at one time was 10. I never homeschooled all 11 of my kids at once. And now I am down to 7. And I'm going to be doing 7 this year and 7 next year. And then I'll be down to 6. And then it's just going to keep getting less and less and less. So one question that I get a lot from people is what our homeschool day looks like. And I've posted several videos about what our routine looks like and how we do things, but a lot of people want to know details, like specifically about our unit studies. What would a typical day look like when we are doing a unit study? So I thought that I would share with you our plans for our first day of homeschool, which is next Monday. Our first day back, I should say. This is actually our 12th year. And you know, Lord willing, this is what's going to happen. And I'm not going to share like specifically all of the curriculum and all of the books, because I've done a lot of videos about that. And actually later on this week or next week, I'm hoping to do a more detailed video about what our daily routine is going to look like and what materials we'll be using. This one is really just to show you what we're going to be doing on that first day. So I mentioned in yesterday's video that while a lot of people who go back from break take things very slowly, they start light and then they just add a little more at a time, I can't do that with my kids. If I would go back and start light with my kids and then after a week or so start adding more stuff on, they wouldn't be happy about having more stuff added on. So I always go in full force when we start our homeschool year, but you have to remember that we are relaxed homeschoolers. My kids are not sitting at a desk for 6 hours a day doing schoolwork. It doesn't look like that at all, and you'll get a good look at that when I tell you about what it's going to be like for our first day. So since we have 7 kids this year who are going to be homeschooled, I have 2 groups now. I will call them, I will call the first group the middles, even though my 7-year-old is not technically what I would call a middle. She's in that group now. So we've got the middles, and then we've got the 2 teens who are in high school. So first of all, for the middles, they are going to start out with their morning basket like we were doing for much of last year as well. And in that morning basket, they will do, they will have a spelling list of 10 spelling words that they will write 3 times each. They have a little German coloring book that they color in. They have either a cursive workbook, or my 7-year-old has a printing workbook. They have math drills, just a math drill workbook that they will work in. And then they will do their silent reading. And I believe that's all that is in our morning basket. So that is typically something that they will do before we have technically started our homeschool day. They usually get that started in the morning while I'm straightening up, because these are all things that they don't really need my help with. They just kind of have at it and get those things in the morning basket done. So once the morning basket is done, we are going to do our Bible devotion that we do every morning. We are going to read from a read aloud. I'm thinking right now that I'm going to go through the Tuttle Twins books with my kids first. And then we're going to do our German. Now they do have a German workbook that they work in, but on our first day back, I'm trying to find a good like German YouTube series. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. I wanted to do kind of like one video a week, like say on Mondays we'll do a German video, and then the rest of the week they'll work in their workbook. So that's what I'm hoping to do, is a German video with my kids. Then after that, we're going to start our unit study activities. The unit study that we are starting out with is ants. And the reason that we're learning about ants is because it's actually in the responsibility section of our CONUS character curriculum. So that's why we're learning specifically about ants and not like all insects. So the first day of our ant unit study, what they're going to do is they're going to do copy work of Proverbs 6, verses 6 through 9. And that's the one that starts out with, "Go to the ant, you sluggard." And it just talks about how ants are hard workers. And so they're going to do that for their copy work. And then after that, I am going to read them The Ant and the Grasshopper. excuse me. I'm going to read them The Ant and the Grasshopper, and I'm going to talk about that compared to the verse. My voice is like going in and out. Okay, now that I'm done choking, anyway, so I'm going to read to them The Ant and the Grasshopper from Aesop's Fables, and we're going to talk about that compared with the verse in Proverbs. And again, this is all about responsibility in ants. And after they are done with that, they are going to do their math. And that is going to be the first day back for my middles. Pretty simple, right? So now for my two girls who are in high school, one of them would be in 9th grade, one of them would be in 11th grade. They also do the morning basket. They have everything in the morning basket that my younger kids have, except they will not be doing the German coloring book because they are learning Spanish. And their cursive workbook, while they do have a cursive workbook, theirs is much more detailed than their younger siblings. Theirs is, it includes passages from the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and I love it. But so yes, they will still be doing the morning basket like their siblings will be doing. After that, I'm going to be doing Bible with them as well. They are going to do their language arts. They will be working on their math, and then I'm hoping that they are going to read a chapter in a history book that I'm tentatively using right now, because here's the story with this. Well, here, first of all, I'll just tell you what else they're going to do. They're going to do Spanish. Right now they're using Duolingo. I did get a Spanish curriculum from Amazon, but they want to work through Duolingo first, like the basic lessons. And once they finish with that, they want to start the curriculum. But anyway, back to the history. So I was going to do the living books approach that we have been doing for history for quite a while now with my older kids. But when I talked to them about it last week, they looked less than enthusiastic about it. I could tell that they didn't want to do history that way. So we sat down and I gave them some options about how they would like to approach history, because I really, really want to focus on United States history right now, especially in light of everything that is happening at this point in time. I think it is very, very important that they know the country's history. But since I hadn't, I'm like losing my train of thought. They decided that what they wanted to do was they wanted to do kind of like a timeline approach where they would work. I have a timeline notebook, which I'll be showing in a video, and I do have another video about that. I'll leave that in the description box. But they basically look like notebooking pages where they will fill out different things about, for example, they're going to be starting with the colonial period when the colonies first started. So they are going to be working in that, and they're going to be creating their own timeline notebook like that. So when I say timeline, I don't mean just like a line and then you're marking different points in time. Timeline as in each notebooking page or each worksheet, whatever you want to call them, will start, at the earliest, and each one will go later and later and later, and that will be their notebook for history. But I needed something to supplement with that timeline workbook. And I didn't really have anything on hand because, again, I was planning on just going to the library and picking out some books. So all that I have right now is everything you need to ace American history in one big fat notebook. And because I've got to say, we're not a textbook family. If you recommend a textbook to us, we likely will not use it. We find them very dry, we find them dull, and it isn't really to our liking. It's not really our homeschooling style. So I like that these books are, they're succinct, they're to the point. They don't drag things out longer than they have to be. But the thing is that this one, as you can see at the top, it says the complete middle school study guide, and I've got my girls in 9th and 11th grade, and really, I don't get hung up on grade levels. But the thing is that I have not had time to read through this yet, so I don't know how. First of all, I don't know if there's any revisionist history in it, so I'm going to have to closely read it as they do it too. And I also don't know how deeply into things that they get. So I'm using this right now just so that they can get the information that they need to fill out those worksheets. But if anyone has I want to say living book or a trade book of American history that has a Christian perspective, I would love if you could recommend it to me, because at this point in time, this is what we have. And again, I liked one of my kids used their math book to kind of do like a review through the year. So I like these books. I'm just not exactly sure. I know that they're not from a Christian perspective, and I will prefer that. But I will use this if I have to, because obviously it's better than not having anything at all. But yeah, if you do have a good like trade book recommendation that has a Christian perspective, I would love if you would share that with me. But anyway, that's what their first day back to school is going to look like. So that's what the first day of a relaxed homeschool with 7 kids is going to look like. I didn't even mention their ages. So my kids who are in the middles group are 7, 9, 10, almost 12, and 13. And the kids who are in, obviously, teenagers in the high school group are 14 and 16. So that's how we're planning on doing things. You never know, things might change. Even though it's only 5 days away now, you just never know. But anyway, that's all that I have. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one over on Instagram, because YouTube disabled my comments again. And if you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.